So I believe this is the first time you've ever seen my personal jet ski on the channel. This is my Honda Aquatrax. This was an ex-rental machine. It's a 1200cc or 1235 if you want to be technical. And we're going to show you what you need to do to change the oil on one of these today. Let's hop over here and take a look at everything you're going to need. Oil, of course. A filter, oil filter wrench, and a ratchet to go along with it, funnel, our Jabsco oil pump, and some rags. And that's it. We've got my oil extractor hooked up to the battery and our hose here ready to go. Right up here there's the oil filter and our oil tank. Now if you haven't run the jet ski, there may not be a lot of oil in this tank, but it's always a good idea, check the tank before we move to the back and do the actual engine sump draining. So let's pull this dipstick out and drain our oil tank. So it's good to have a rag handy because if there is oil on there, and mine is pretty nasty, so let's stick our extractor tube down in here. Once we start pulling air, you'll hear the pump change tone. Then we can kind of play with this hose a little bit and turn it and see if we can get into a spot like I just did right there. Get down in a little bit further. Pull out a little bit more oil so that we have the most complete change possible. Now we've finished extracting from this front tank, we need to move to the rear oil sump. On a 3-seater like my machine, it's underneath the rear seat through this little cavity. On a 2-seater, you'll have to remove the rear cowl piece and the little tool tray that's in there so that you can reach down in here and find this little black plastic cap like the front oil dipstick, but much smaller. When you find that, stick your extractor tube down in there and extract from here. Same thing with this one. Feel around with the hose a bit. And you'll oftentimes find a little pocket of a bit more. Now, one thing you probably noticed different from the TR1 oil change, I didn't punch a hole in the top of the filter because Honda has this neat little catch thing here that is the perfect size for an oil extractor hose. You can just tuck the hose down in there in the bottom. I'll get a picture of it, just how you want it. So shove the hose down in there like that. Grab yourself a rag and just kind of tuck the rag there up against it. And then if the filter was put on properly, you should be able to crack it loose with a good hefty twist of your arm. So, got hose in place, our rag there, unscrew the filter, unscrew it slowly, and just let your oil extractor suck up all the oil, and you'll end up with no mess. There you have it. Suck out all the cavity that the filter sets in. Go ahead down in the passages there. Wipe up the last little remaining remnants of old oil there. There you have it. No mess in the hull and just a little bit of oil on your rag. So at this point, now that we've pulled the filter, we've cleaned all that out, I always like to double check the tank and the sump drain just to make sure that there's no oil that drained back when we pulled the filter off. So now that we've got all the oil out, we want to put our little sump drain plug back in the back. Get our new filter out. Dip my finger in that new oil and just put a light coat on that O-ring as well as down on those threads. Make sure everything is going together with no friction. There we go. We're all coated up. Just take it and spin it on here. Just decently snug. You don't need to use a wrench or anything, just put it on nice and tight. Then grab your funnel, put it in the tank, and we're going to put in about 3 quarts. Then start the engine and check and make sure our level is good. Alright, so after you've run the engine for about 30 seconds or so that it's circulated all around, ideally you should warm it all the way up, but you just need to know that if you check the oil level cold, you have to run it for 15 to 30 seconds and then check it, and it'll be just a little below where the level will be full. So we're going to pull our dipstick. I'll wipe it off. And it's just barely on the tip, so we need some more. Added another quart or so in. Dip it and see how it's right halfway in the middle without screwing it in. If you look and see where it sits not screwed in, it's about the width of my finger. So the width of my finger is going to put it just a hair below the full mark. So by the time it heats up, it'll be right on that full mark, or just perfect. There you have it. Oil's changed on my Honda, ready to go for another season. So it's really pretty simple, as you saw. All the access points to get to the tank, the filter, and the sump drain are very easy to access. Maybe slightly more difficult on one of the turbocharged models, but still right there, easy to get to. So that's all you need to know. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.